it was one of those days when they did a sweep. Cops were all in riot gear, and they'd go all the way across the sidewalk, across the street, and onto the sidewalk over there. And they just came down with 2 or 3 rows of them, with their clubs and their riot gear, the masks on, the whole bit, and clubbing guys and throwing them in jail. Now, there was a gang, there was bad people there by then, which these guys weren't. All they were getting is hippies. They didn't, when you got robbed there and called the police, it'd take them 4 hours to get there. That they didn't want to deal with, Hippies they liked, because they could club the hell out of them. But anyway, this guy, this cop, he looks up and he says, "Get off that roof now." And I didn't say fuck you, but I thought it. But I said, "I live here. This is my home." And he took out his gun, a revolver, pointed it right at me. And I'm telling you, that looked real close to me. Then it was 5 stories down. But it's very clear. I could see it good, And as soon as he did that and pulled the gun out, a sergeant ran up, grabbed him, and pushed him out of the deal. And they went on. But they threatened me to kill me. They were coming down Haight Street, and they were almost to Clayton. We were up on the roof of the Clayton.
And you saw them get your friend.
Yeah.
And he didn't resist.
No, he knew better. He's no dummy. They're whacking him. So he just protected himself and let them throw him in the wagon,
And how often do they have these?
They started doing it, and that's when your mother, that's when I'm in England, your mother phones and says, "I gotta get out of here, I gotta leave, I can't," I said, "Well, leave already." I said, "Call Beacons and split." He said, "I'm going to want to go back to Phoenix, and I want you to come right back now," and I can't. I said, all that stuff I sent, I sent all those body tapes, all the shit that she was selling like crazy. Well, she hadn't sent me the money back to buy more yet, and I still owed money. I said, "You got enough money, go ahead," So she hired Beacons, and they moved her ass right up here, or down here, whatever, from San Francisco, with lock, stock, and barrel, with everything. And so and then she still wanted me to come over to Phoenix, and you come back. Well, now I got all this crap to pay for, and I got to hustle and work over there, and I got thousands of posters. I can't just walk off and leave all that and come home because Mama misses Daddy. Jesus. So she said, that's when she says, "Well, I might as well be divorced if it's going to be like that, if you're going to live there." And I said, "Well, it's up to you." So she got Jerry Davidge, her lawyer friend for years, and my friend, he was a friend of mine through her, but we hung out with him a lot. To get her a divorce, do a divorce deal for her. So he wrote up a non-contested divorce, sent me papers to England, which I signed and had notarized by a British notary. I forget what they call them, whether it's notary or not, but anyways, comparable, so that it was notarized, and they had it. I sent it back. And when it came time for and he represented both of us, there was no thing to argue over. It was just one divorce. Her stuff is hers and mine's mine. Forget about anything else. There was no kids involved, nothing. So it was just an uncontested divorce. And when he went to court, the judge said he didn't recognize that paper that I okayed it with. So he said, I've got to see this man or something, I can't go by this. And and Jerry says, "How do you like that?" He says, "That's absolutely got to be the first time I ever lost an uncontested divorce. How do you lose one? So that was that.